Have you ever asked yourself if the problem isn't just who you choose, but how you choose? Looking back now, I know I made the exact same mistake in two marriages, and no one ever taught me how to see it. I wish someone told me this before my two divorces. I was standing in the apartment, opening moving boxes, slowly unpacking the pieces of my life. My kids, who were 9 and 11 at the time, were sound asleep in the next room. And I was sitting there with tears rolling down my face. I was terrified. That was the day I finally left my second husband and moved out with my children. And the weight of the unknown felt overwhelming. I had no idea how I would manage full time work, full time university studies, visa issues as we lived in Europe back then, and raising two kids completely on my own. When I left, their father made it clear he would not be helping with the kids. And then, just 3 days after we moved into that apartment, the first COVID lockdown happened. Suddenly, my kids were home full time. So, on top of working full time and studying full time, I was now homeschooling two restless kids who were trapped inside with no structure and no social life and had difficulty doing online schooling. They were having meltdown after meltdown. I cried myself to sleep almost every night. I was exhausted, overwhelmed, angry, scared, and barely holding it together. And the marriage I just left, it lasted 12 years. But if I'm brutally honest, it should have ended at least 5 years earlier. And if I'm even more honest, I probably should have never married that person in the first place. Not because he was a bad person, he wasn't, but because I was completely clueless about why I was choosing him. Looking back now, it still amazes me how many misalignments I simply did not see. My biological clock was ticking loudly. I had already been divorced once, and I convinced myself I had chosen an upgraded partner version compared to my first husband. Except I had not. I had simply repeated the same pattern. And I wish someone had taught me earlier what I know now. Because today, in my late 40s, I am in the first relationship of my life where there is true alignment, where there is harmony between our minds, hearts, bodies, souls. Honestly, I didn't even know this level of connection was possible, but it is. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because most of us are navigating search for love completely blind. No one teaches us how to build relationships. Movies teach us romance, but romance isn't reality. Reality is actually much simpler, but we make it complicated. And I certainly did. One of my biggest challenges was that I didn't know how to truly be a woman in a relationship. I lived almost entirely in my masculine energy, controlling everything, directing everything, telling my partners what to do, and they allowed it, which only reinforced the pattern. After my second divorce, I finally had to face myself fully and completely. I had to ask a very uncomfortable question. Why was I the common denominator in relationships that keep ending? And if I was the one controlling everything, why wasn't I happy with what I was creating? That question started my transformation, in a sense. And there are so many things I wish I knew back then. I wish I knew that difficult conversations are not a threat. They are an opportunity to deepen connection with the right person. But an invitation into those conversations should be kind and positive, not a demand. I wish I knew that chemistry and physical attraction matter just as much as emotional and intellectual compatibility. And instead of dismissing it in both of my marriages, I should have communicated what was and was not working for me. I wish I knew that trying to control a man or anyone or anything in that matter comes from fear. And that fear slowly poisons any relationship. I wish I knew that the thoughts we think often create our emotional and mental baseline, determining the quality of our love life. If your mind constantly scans for problems, it will always find them, always. And that becomes a self fulfilling prophecy. I also wish I understood that many of the beliefs I carried about love were not even mine. They were beliefs I downloaded in childhood without questioning them. And they were quietly sabotaging my adult relationships. Eventually, I became brave enough to face all of this. I became honest with myself. I started learning, healing, rewiring my nervous system, breaking patterns, and retraining my mind to stop sabotaging my happiness. And the only reason I was able to do that was because I finally admitted I needed help. Think about it. If your teeth hurt, you go to a dentist to figure out why. But when it comes to the most important decisions of our lives, choosing a partner and building love, we assume we should just figure it out alone, even though no one ever taught us how. Years ago, I was confused, frustrated, and repeating the same patterns until I finally reached out to someone who had already walked the path I was trying to navigate blindly. And that changed everything. So ask yourself honestly, if you already had all the skills and awareness needed for a healthy relationship, wouldn't you already be in one? Self-honesty is where transformation begins. And self-honesty requires courage. But once you start that journey, everything becomes clearer. Today, the love, the peace, the connection I experience with my partner are the result of that courage. The courage to stop blaming, the courage to reflect, the courage to learn, the courage to change, the courage to admit I was wrong, the courage to ask for forgiveness. Creating an amazing love life is actually simple, but it requires clarity. And that clarity is what most people are missing. So if dating feels confusing, frustrating, exhausting, if it feels like a puzzle you can't quite solve, I can help you solve it. Because once you understand the missing pieces, everything changes. Love stops feeling like a struggle. It starts flowing to you naturally. Everything changed for me when I finally understood the patterns that were sabotaging my relationships. And once you see them, you cannot unsee them. That clarity is what I help people discover. So if you're ready to stop walking blindly through the dating world, book a call with me and let's chat. No obligation, just a safe, supportive space for you. The links are in the description below. Click to subscribe to my channel as well. And as always, I hope my insights are helpful to you, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you. Have a great rest of the week.